Well, what a year 2021 was, with the mantra being expect the unexpected.
There was certainly no shortage of excitement and stories. From our newsroom, we dominated topics that ran the gamut from a very big ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal.
That doesn't work. The light and the load, it could take a really long time. The Suez logjam delay blocks £7 billion of goods a day. The global supply chain wants the ship to take its leave and go.
To SPACs coming to Singapore to try and revive its stock market. We started the year with a bang, breaking news on an $18 billion merger in Indonesia between Gojek and Tokopedia that would go on to complete one of the world's largest IPOs in 2022. Our readers have also lapped up all of our crypto coverage.
And meanwhile, the city seemed to move from one corporate scandal to another as more and more money poured in. Envy is probably not what you're feeling after the biggest alleged investment scam in Singapore unravelled, leaving investors who thought they were buying nickel on the hook for $1 billion. Our intrepid reporters broke news on the ins and outs.
Of course, COVID-19 can never be far from our minds as the pandemic raged on in its second year with deaths and disruptions. Our macro view highlighted the severity of the crisis in India. In Singapore, we went through many starts and stops in our reopening, but by the end of the year, as more VTLs started, remember those, we started to be able to think about getting on a plane once again.
And don't forget, David, your story of Singapore as a safe haven amid the pandemic was the first big takeout of the Bureau.
Outside of Singapore, there was no shortage of turmoil to keep us on our toes. Myanmar's army staged a coup, reversing the path to democracy. In China, our commodities team delivered hard-hitting and market-moving stories, from what's happening in Xinjiang's solar plants to the commodity price surges and how they affected markets. And is so-called carbon-neutral fossil fuel all that it's made out to be?
Well, meanwhile, our markets folks were equally busy trying to catch their breath. The year, which began with retail traders rushing to Reddit, didn't let up its pace as the Fed signalled the transition to a more hawkish stance towards year-end, and inflation risks started rearing their head. We know how that's playing out. Well, Singapore surprised the market when it raised the inflation alarm early in October by tightening policy, and the central bank told us a month later it's ready to act.
In November, the New Economy Forum came to our shores and became the talk of the town in more ways than one. The event drew CEOs eager to mingle, and we scored exclusives with PM Lee, Bill Gates, CZ of Binance, and a big scoop on the next UBS chairman.
You've said that you will stay on until COVID is under control. You'll stay on as Prime Minister. Some journalists have noted that you have, however, cleverly put two of your potential successors onto the COVID task force to see how they do. It looks a little like kind of Squid Game. Do you have any idea how are they performing? Are you thinking of eliminating them or continuing?
I think our approach is not to write off any participants because I don't have spare. I'm not looking for a winner. I'm trying to build a team.
Well, meanwhile, our singular focus on good journalism saw us ending the year with a powerful story on how the world's relentless demand for chips turned deadly in a Malaysia town.
Through all these twists and turns, the Singapore Bureau has added new talents, even as we bid farewell to familiar faces. We navigated all the weirdness of Zoom meetings, compiled 2 Spotify lists of favourite lockdown songs, and so much more.
Which brings us to this day.